Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another video. First and foremost, I can say after spending a whole entire week with blood, sweat, and tears, we have finally prevailed at clearing World 5 with our favorite characters, Jing Yuan and Blade. Now, not only did I clear World 5 with my favorite characters, but I did it with the Elation path as the main path. Unfortunately though, as hard as I tried not to use Remembrance, after I beat the World 2 boss, Phase 2 boss, the game, it sends you into that little translucent, transparent realm where you start speaking to Eons. I'm speaking to Ouroboros of Veracity, the Eon of Veracity. And then Ouroboros, however the hell you pronounce her name, gets interrupted by Fully, the Eon of Remembrance. And the Eon Remembrance just says, you know what? The way you went about this was cooler than a black man riding a bicycle on ice in the middle of the ocean. So what I'm gonna do here, those of you who caught that reference, y'all some real ones. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna give you a taste of what it's like to have the power of the God of Cold. And he just blessed and bestowed me with every single blessing of Remembrance. So I had all the blessings of Elation, and then I went into the final fight with all the blessings of Remembrance. Now, I'm not sure if that just happens when you beat Kafka with the Elation path. I don't know, but I took it. Now, I tried to avoid not doing the cheese, but they gave it to me. What y'all want me to do? And to be honest, if he didn't give that to me, I probably would have got my cheeks clapped and we would have had to prolong making this video until I actually succeeded with the Elation path, which God knows how long that would have taken. Y'all get the story. But there's a lot of strategy that goes behind what I did to get there. I have completely mastered, and I do mean I have mastered the Elation path. I know everything there is to know about it. I know exactly how to get to the boss every single time. It's a really fun path once you master it. Basically, the entire concept of it revolves around, as I've said in my previous video, rolling for video games and rolling for rewards. So the dice roll is a very prevalent ability to utilize to get you the build you're trying to go for when you're going for the Elation path. Anyways, in this particular video, of course, I'm going to show the run, and I'm going to try and explain to you guys every little tactic and strategy I utilize to complete the run. So let's get into it. I'm really excited, man. I'm glad I beat this shit. Holy hell. Okay, so starting off with the team that I utilized to get through the first phase, it's always this team right here. As I said, I'm a Jing Yuan fan, so of course he's in the party. If he's not in the party, then it's Blade. But I have to start off with one or the other because my favorite combo synergy inside of this world is these two right here. They are an incredible duo for this world. And my concept for World 5 is very simple. You either have to be incredibly tanky to survive through all the freaking hits, because as I told y'all, these motherfuckers hit harder than Escanor at noon. So you either have to be incredibly tanky, Abundance path or Preservation path, or you have to be incredibly fast and CC reliant. If you're not doing one or the other, I just don't see World 5 being clearable because they hit too damn hard. So you either prevent them from going or you're just too hard to kill yourself. Anyways, with that being said, I am definitely not hard to kill. I'm very easy to kill, but these two right here make it very hard for the enemy to go. And once we get certain buffs inside of certain paths, we're able to pretty much perpetuate them being CC'd indefinitely. With these two right here, it just makes it very easy to climb through the phases, having Welt and Silverwolf. Now, I get it. Not all of you guys have Welt and Silverwolf. Well, it's a good thing that I'm only talking about my own personal experience here. Anyways, so these are the two I use. Let's go over the buffs. So obviously for the Elation path, let's speak about the concrete buffs needed to make this team synergy work. As I said, we're all about being very fast and CCing the other enemy indefinitely. So what we're going to need here is a very strong potency for weakness break efficiency. We're trying to get their shields down as fast as possible so that Welt's Imaginary Imprisonment or Silverwolf's Quantum Entanglement are going to delay the hell out of the enemy. So we're going to take this right here to increase the potency of toughness breaking, and this buff right here is one of the most concrete foundations of this strategy. When a character launches a follow-up attack on enemies, the enemy's action is delayed by 12%. So anytime I do any follow-up attacks, they're going to get delayed by 12%. These two buffs right here make it incredibly crucial to pick up This right here, Champion's Dinner, Cat's Cradle. When characters deal damage to an enemy with their ult, this attack is considered a follow-up attack. Increase the damage of follow-up attacks by 15%. So basically, essentially, your ults turn into follow-up attacks as well. So if you have somebody like Blade or Jing Yuan or Kafka or Yang Xing who already have follow-up attacks built into their kits, now you just need to put people on the team whose ults actually deal damage, right? So you don't really want buffers on the team because they don't do damage with their ults. You want people who are going to hit the enemy. So Lorcha, his ult deals damage, and it's a follow-up attack because he deals damage. We have what is it? Welt and Silverwolf. Both of them do damage with their ults, and Welt further imprisons and slows the enemy as well. Welt is literally a god. He is the chosen one for World 5. He really is. But basically, turning their ults into follow-up attacks allows this to delay the enemy's action value. And then Welt himself being an imaginary unit, his ult literally slows them and delays them itself. So it's a very strong combo with the Elation path that it worked wonders for me. Now we're gonna come over here to the, I believe, Nihility path. And I want to talk to you guys about what it has right here. Increase weakness break efficiency by 30%, Night Beyond power. This is another one you want to pick up because it just makes it way easier for Welt and Silverwolf to break shields. And when they break their shields, I already explained that to you. I don't want to sound like a broken record. And there's one more buff over here that you want to pick up. Here it goes right here. Increase characters break effect by 50%. So Imaginary has the strongest delayed effect in the game. It's stronger than Entanglement and whatever the hell else out there. It's stronger than Freeze. So when you pick this up and Welt breaks everyone's shields, they are getting so goddamn like delayed. It's insanity how like heavily they are getting delayed. So again, best buffs to pick up from Nihility if you can. These aren't necessities, but they're massively impactful if you can pick them up. This one right here, increase weakness break efficiency by 30%, and then this puppy right here. These two are very good. Now I already know some of y'all are thinking like, don't forget about this buff over here. Yeah, this is a good one as well. In fact, it's one of the most broken buffs in the entire game, but it's not a necessity. You don't need this. Having this though, these two are just incredibly important when you have Welt on the team. No, this is not a Welt showcase, all right? He's just one of the concrete units to make this happen. But to be honest with you, Jing Yuan and Blade constantly doing their follow-up attacks, a couple with their ults, they're a huge value in delaying the enemy's turn as well. So let's come over to the Hunt path because these are going to be the final buffs to top off the strategy of being very fast while slowing the unit. One of the most broken buffs for the Hunt path, obviously this right here, because however many Hunt blessings you have, you get more speed, making your team faster. And then you want this as well. At the end of the character's turn, they advance forward, making them even faster. And then this is so important to pick up. So upon entering battle, character speed increases by 30% until they're attacked. If you enhance it, which I did have it enhanced during my run, 45% speed boost upon entering battle. After everything I just explained to you, this is one of the most broken buffs, but the thing is you cannot get hit. So the goal obviously is to go into battle and prevent getting hit for as long as possible. I think I'm able to utilize it going all the way until the second part of the final boss fight. You know, they have 3 HP bars. I think I keep this buff procced all the way into the second part, that's the value. You got a lot of value out of it at that point. So that's one I recommend picking up. That's one I recommend picking up, those two, and they're level 1 buffs, so they should be relatively easy to pick up. And then finally, this one. And if you can enhance it, even better. I believe I had mine enhanced as well. I'm telling you, I had a path strategy where I was like, they're not hitting me. It's just not gonna happen. So it worked out very well. So this is very good coupled with, again, the Elation path buffs, because when you break their shields with Welt, dude is pretty much delaying them indefinitely, no matter how fast they are. After all of these action value delays, as well as the speed boost we have, it makes everything so much easier. Okay, then let's get into the Elation path. Obviously, you want to pick up as many aftertaste buffs as you possibly can. These two here are going to make your follow-up attacks very strong, including the ults of your characters. So this is a huge, unfortunately in this run, we didn't get to enhance any of it and really show you the true power of the follow-up attack. I also had a level 6 level for the final boss, which makes him tankier to all the attacks that I do. Basically, what I'm trying to say here is Remembrance carried me pretty hard. I'll be honest, I'm not gonna lie to you. Remembrance carried me pretty hard, but if you really do invest well into the Elation path, these buffs can deal some ridiculous amounts of damage. So Elation path, pick up both of these just so your follow-up attacks are dealing more damage with Jingyuan, Blade, and then everyone's ults. Just pick up everything that says Aftertaste. I'm not going to even talk your ear off about anything else. If you pick up all the stuff that says Aftertaste, you are winning, my friend. Now, moving on to one of the most important things that you can use when you're running Remembrance path. It's just one single buff. And let me see if I can find it here real quick. Here it is. Perfect Experience Innocence. This buff right here. After a character breaks an enemy's weakness, there's a 100% base chance to apply Dissociation on the enemy's turn. Dissociation deals damage based off of how much HP the enemy you're going up against has. So it is true damage, is what we would call it in League of Legends. There is no escaping this damage. There's no defending against it. 30% of the enemy's max HP. And as we all know, they have millions of HP inside of this swarm disaster. So Dissociation's easily the most broken thing. Remember, I told you guys about Dissociation and Remembrance path when World 7 dropped in the regular simulated universe. I was one of the originators of this path. They put it on game on YouTube. That's why I tried to avoid it, because I know how strong it is. Same concept here in World 7. I mean, in Swarm Disaster, Dissociation's broken. But when you upgrade it, this is up to the part I'm talking about, and mine was upgraded because they gave me the whole damn path. When you upgrade it, there's no defending this shit. When you break an enemy's weakness, they're gonna get frozen, and Dissociation is going to be applied to them because this effect ignores enemies' chance to resist frozen. This is the most broken thing about it. This is the only buff you want to try and aim for if you can. And of course, there's a plethora of synergies that make this buff even better. But just getting this alone is a absolute game changer with somebody like Welt on the team, because the boss you're going up against is weak against Imaginary. It's also weak against Quantum, so Silverwolf can do it too. But Welt has an AoE that hits everyone, and with that weakness break efficiency buff I told you about earlier, he just breaks everyone's shields. They all get Dissociation on him. It's GG's. Like, Welt is just cracked as a support. He's broken. I'm telling you, he's the chosen one for World 5, I swear. Especially when you're trying to avoid not using Imbibe de Lunae, or maybe you don't have a Imbibe de Lunae. As I told y'all before, that boy Welt, Uncle Welt, man, he coming with the heat every single time. So that's pretty much all the need to know about the build. The final thing I'll throw in there is I always try to get this buff right here. For each skill point a character consumes, all enemies gain spores, and then you hit them and then they explode for a ridiculous amount of damage. I like this buff a lot. And there's one little survivability one I always go for, this one right here. Reduce damage taken. Any damage percent reduction buffs you can get are always good for survivability, because no matter how hard the enemy hits, you're going to reduce their damage by a percentage, which is huge. So these two are the only buffs I ever try to go for propagation. And that's it, boys. All right, boys and girls, I tried not to talk too long. I know I have a bad habit of going too in-depth on things. I try to refrain from doing so much, but basically that's the strategy. Now let's go ahead and go into the strategy I utilize to get through the phases. Okay, I'll just let this run in the background while I explain my 5 billion IQ strat. Why did I choose Kafka? She's not anti-Welt. She does not have any resistance against imprisonment. This information can be found on Wikipedia, by the way, Honkai Star Rail Wikipedia. She doesn't have any resistance to imprisonment. Cocolia does. So I chose Kafka in particular to fight against because Welt can actually imprison her, delay her, and prevent her from going as much as I can. The other thing, the reason I chose her is because the buff that was attached to her said reduce crowd control effect resistance by 25% when fighting the swarm boss, which allows my Welt to constantly apply his imprisonment effect to the boss as well. And again, the strategy, be very fast, CC them so that I don't get one shot. And then of course, she's also weak to Imaginary and Wind, which are both elements that I'm using on my team. We got Lorcha, Welt, and Blade. Jingyuan is the only L going up against Kafka because she has a 40% lightning resistance. So my Jingyuan's damage was nerfed pretty drastically, but it doesn't matter because he still has the follow-up attack with all the follow-up attack buffs. So he's still able to contribute to some damage, and most importantly, delay her because of the follow-up attack delay buff that I have. So at the end of the day, she was the best scenario for me to get past that second boss window. If I go up against Japard, he has great control effect resistance, which he becomes a pain in the ass. If you go up against Cocolia, again, you can't imprison her. Those two are nightmares, and they're gonna one tap me. But the robot boss, he has control effect resistance, but he doesn't have any CC. He has his hand that grabs you, but you can just clap the hand and get it back out of there. Him and Kafka are basically the best bets for my team comp synergy. So that's why I go against those two in particular. And then once you get past them, you're smooth sailing. I actually would argue that some of these second phase bosses are harder than the Swarm boss. They're just absolute pain in the asses. I think if you can go up against the robot boss and Kafka, you've got a good fair chance of winning. Anyways, the final strategy going up against the Swarm boss is just try to break everyone's shields with either Lorcha or Welt. If you have good break effect on your Lorcha or Welt, they're going to delay them to the point where you can just pop off. Dissociation is going to be applied to them. And from here, you just got to try to break the dissociation with anybody. It doesn't matter who you break their shields with dissociation. It's going to pop. People are going to do a ridiculous amount of damage because there's a dissociation buff. That's a 2-star buff, I believe, that pretty much says anyone who attacks somebody afflicted with dissociation will remove the buff immediately, dealing X amount of damage. So it makes it look like your main DPS is the one dealing the damage, but in reality, it's the broken ass dissociation buff. So that's pretty much the strategy. Break their shields because they're weak against the imaginary element, and then the rest is just gonna happen. Anyways, guys, you guys enjoy the rest of this run. I'm going to edit it up so that you can just see how I went about the strategy. As always, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. I'm so glad I beat it with my favorite characters. Hopefully we brought you some value. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you on the flip side.
You